States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, for announcements, I just have our upcoming meetings, all regular meetings here in the Matthew Thornton Room, all at 7 p.m. August 18th, September 8th, and September 22nd, all will be regular meetings here at the Matthew Thornton Room. Paul, do you have announcements? Oh, I have. Should I do mornings now? No, never mind. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Parks and Rec Department's free weekly summer concerts at Abbey Griffin Park are held every Wednesday night from 6 to 8 p.m. through August 17th. Last night, I guess the venue was packed with over 200 people, so it was a good turnout. And for those that don't know, they got some extra singing by our resident Red-tailed Hawks. We have 2 resident Red-tailed Hawks that are hanging out at between the courthouse and Town Hall, and they were squawking.
They were this evening when Nancy and I came in.
And they're pretty friendly to people, so a lot of people have been close up and taking pictures of them, so they haven't been trying to attack them. I guess not near the nest, which
It's
is
a good thing.
yes. The next Parks and Rec Department free movie night in the park will be held Saturday, July 23rd at Wasserman Park. The movie begins at 8 p.m. and will be showing Spider-Man No Way Home. Merrimack Police and the Parks and Recreation Department invite you to join them on Tuesday, August 2nd from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Abbey Griffin Park for this year's National Night Out celebration. The event will feature the Merrimack Police Department along with a number of local businesses, community organizations who will be providing free food, games, music, arts and crafts projects. This event will be followed by Parks and Rec's movie night in the park where the movie The Bad Guys will be shown. The movie will begin at 8 p.m. The Media Division's Become Involved TV series will begin airing next Friday, July 22nd on Merrimack TV, YouTube channel, and cable channel number 20. Each of the 8 programs feature a member of the town council interviewing the chairperson of a town board or committee. This series is designed to inform residents and engage our community to become more involved. The first episode of Become Involved, Town Center Committee, hosted by Finley Rothaus, will premiere alongside the introduction called Be an Active Citizen, which details how Merrimack is governed. A new episode will premiere every Friday through September 2nd. To learn more, visit the Town of Merrimack's Facebook page or the town's website this Friday. Thank you.
I apologize. It's time for comments from the press and public. If you'd like to address the council about tonight's agenda items, feel free to step to the mic here or the table right in front of us. And seeing none. We have no recognitions, resignations, or retirements. No appointments this evening, no public hearings. I have a legislative update from Representative Maureen Mooney, and I'll read real quickly here. She says, greetings. The governor signed into law House Bill 1547, an act relative to perfluorinated chemical remediation in soil and procedures for certain hazardous waste generators, which includes the following. A, it allows the New Hampshire DES commissioner to initiate rules for soil remediation standards for perfluorochemicals by November 1st, 2023, because the United States Geological Survey is performing a study in New Hampshire of its soils due by the fall of 2022. B, it amends the Groundwater Protection Act rulemaking section, RSA 485, C:4, Roman numeral 8, to add soil, and that a person liable for such contamination provides safe alternative water to an impacted well owner. In parentheses, note, the term person includes companies, private or public, corporations, per RSA 485, C:2, Roman 11. C, it amends the PFAS Remediation Loan Fund Grants section in RSA 485, H:11. And D, it allows the DES to establish rebate programs to assist impacted private well users with water treatment or connection to public water systems in RSA 485 H:3. And E, it adds a whopping $25 million to the PFAS Remediation Loan Fund and RSA 485H:10. Respectfully submitted, Maureen Mooney. I don't know if anybody else had anything from any reps. All right. Town Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one tonight. Well, I'm pleased to announce that the Natticook Day Camp and the Trek Summer Camps are all sold out for the remainder of the summer. We are currently looking at the highest enrollment in camps history this year.
Very good. Thank you, Paul. We have no consent agenda nor old business. So item number 1 under new business is ratification of the May 26, 2022 Town Council meeting votes. I was unfortunately not here at this meeting with a couple of my other colleagues as well missing, and so because Councilor Harrington was at that meeting, she's going to speak to this item.
I was at that meeting and I knew I was going to chair it. I didn't know it was going to be so eventful, however. Anyway, what happened on May 25th, and the council knows all this, but this is for a public explanation about what happened. On May 26th, I did know that there were going to be 2 other councilors absent, which meant there was going to be 4 present. And then I got a last-minute notification, literally we were here, that another person was not going to be here, which means we did not have a quorum. I did call Barbara Healy and said, would you be willing to attend via phone? And thank God she said yes. We subsequently found out that the state had rescinded its COVID ability to use phone. If I had said this was an emergency, we would have been covered, but nobody knew that. So as a result, we contacted our attorney and said, what should we do with this? And she said, you could ratify the meeting, but you have to make sure that all the councilors, and we've asked all the councilors who were not present, to review the minutes and to review the video and to come up with any questions that they needed answered related to any of those topics. And as far as I know, there have been none, at least that I know of. Is there anyone who has questions about it? Because we are able to ratify the vote under these circumstances. So that's why we do my explanation for this. So it was recommended by the attorney that a motion be made and a vote be completed ratifying. Do you want to take care of that, Mr. Chair, or how do you want to do it?
Actually, if somebody would like to make the motion, I can make the motion. Doesn't.
Well, I'll be happy to make the motion, although I wasn't here. But, Barbara, did you?
I can make it if you.
Why don't you do that?
So I move that the council ratify all votes or other actions taken at the meeting held on May 26, 2022, due to the fact that less than a quorum of councilors were physically present.
Second. And we have to do a roll call.
We have to do a roll call?
Roll call.
I mean, I see that. Okay,
I'm just following the attorney's directions.
all right.
So,
All right.
go ahead, Chair.
Chair can call the vote.
There's no other comments or questions. I'll call the question. So start with Ron Woods.
Present.
Andy?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Nancy, that is. And Bob?
Yes.
And I, yes, as well. And sorry about that
So the vote
That's all
is,
mistake. Yeah, the motion unanimously carried 7-0. And it is,
Well, there was one present.
Lon voted
Voted
present.
Ron voted
present.
present? Oh, I apologize. Yes, I did. All right. So however you would record that,
Up.
that's, we'll have done.
601.
Oh my gosh, 2 times.
Wow, Finley?
He normally flashes a light and I catch it, but, so I apologize for all that. I will say that the motion passed unanimously, 6 in favor, 1 present, and no abstentions or in the negative. So we should be all set, and unfortunately that happened, but I'm glad we were able to remedy it.
And I apologize. It was all good intention, but we want to make sure, and thank you for the person who notified us. And we followed it through, and again, if I had said it's an emergency, we would have been covered, but we didn't even know that, so now we are covered, so thank you.
And what creates an emergency is something that has to be acted upon, and we did have an item that night that was date
Correct.
critical, so, but we didn't call the emergency regardless.
Right.
So, anyhow, okay.
So we carried on. It was a very quick meeting.
I actually was listening to the thing,
That's right.
so I watched,
And we
yeah.
put you to sleep.
You did, at one point in the conservation rules, I just kind of dozed a little, but,
I think I was driving in Virginia or something.
so, all right, then we'll move on to committee appointments. Under item number 2 under new business, Nancy, I didn't make the meeting with Nancy. Nancy and Bob Best interviewed Halim Medioni, and he's here this evening, but I don't know if they gave me, no, I
No,
didn't
didn't
have
have
his background information with me.
didn't.
So I-
No, but he is a local business owner and has been interested in providing getting involved in the town for a long time. So he had some people who have been in various committees talk to him and expressing this is a really good way to be able to be introduced. And during the interview, we talked about the great advantage of coming in and being able to learn. And he is an alternate, being proposed for an alternate member. So it's a wonderful position to be in, to be able to learn and obviously be involved in the meeting and the planning board. But, and Barbara, you'll see Barbara there too, if you are approved. But it's a wonderful way to be introduced and learn things. So we had absolutely, Bob and I had no reservations. Very pleasant gentleman who will be an asset.
Perfect. So I'll look for a motion.
Go ahead, or you can, since you interviewed.
I'd be happy to. I would like to move to appoint Halim Mediuni to the alternate member of the planning board
Second.
for a 3-year term. Thank you.
Motion by Nancy Harrington, seconded by Nancy Murphy. Any further discussion on your motion? Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 7-0-0. Halim, yes, we'll do that right now. If you'd like to step up to this microphone here. Raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Halim Medioni,
I, Halim Medioni,
do solemnly swear and sincerely swear
do solemnly swear and sincerely swear
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent upon me as an alternate member of the Merrimack Planning Board,
all the duties incumbent on me as an alternate member of the Merrimack Planning Board,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeable to the rules and regulations
agreeable to the rules and
of
regulations
this Constitution and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
of this Constitution and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And I have to sign your life away. Thank you very much, Elaine.
Thanks, Halim.
Thank you.
Now, your life is consumed. I don't know if you know that.
Be careful what you ask for.
Don't scare him right now.
You ladies signed.
He's already signed it.
All right. What am I doing here? Okay, the next one on the agenda item is one I'm pretty excited about. Under new business is the Children's Business Fair. The council's to be presented with the details and consideration of the approval of the proposed Children's Business Fair. And Sarah Snavely? Hi, Sarah. How are you doing? Do you want to make sure? Oh,
Is this gonna,
You can-
are these gonna come on?
there you go.
Mine isn't on.
How are you this evening?
I'm good, thank you. Today I'll be seeking a permit for Watson Park August 14th from 9 to 12. What is the Acton Academy's Children's Business Fair? It's to help children find their inner entrepreneur so that it's the largest entrepreneurship event for kids in North America. This one-day market gives children the opportunity to showcase their very own business. Jeff and Laura and a few other families wanted some kids to have entrepreneurship in their lives, so they created the first Acton Academy's Children's Business Fair in Texas 2007. That year there were 7 entrepreneurs and around 25 attendees. Now there's over 115 entrepreneurs and 1,500 attendees at the Acton Children's Fair in Texas. The fair will be a tented outdoor area with booths. Each business will be given a booth that's 8 feet to share with another business. Booths are not likely to have electricity, designed to give kids the experience of selling a product or a service. The child running the booth is responsible for setup, customer interaction, and sales.
Okay, So
You
do-
well done?
that's, I'm very impressed. I'm always impressed when young people come up here, but I think you've been the youngest as of today, so I'm very, very impressed. Do you know how many participants you're kind of expecting?
I hope to have at least 20 tables set up.
Wonderful, that'll be spectacular. What is your business?
I will be selling pillows and the other children who attend, they can make things or give out services.
Fantastic. Nancy?
You did an awesome job, Sarah. It's hard to get up. A lot of adults have a hard time talking to a group of people they don't know. So you did a phenomenal job. Can you tell us, for people that are listening and want to know how they get involved in this, how do kids sign up to be part of this?
You go on to Acton Academy website and search fairs near me, and you look for the one that's in Merrimack, and within that website you will press a button where it says apply for the fair.
Awesome, thank you.
So just let me repeat that again, because you have a very soft voice. They need to go to a website called the Acton
Acton.
ACT.
Academy.
Yes.
And then they can sign up from that site there.
Yes, they search fairs near me,
Uh-huh.
and they find the one in Merrimack.
Great, thank you.
Do you have an idea how many fairs around the country they're holding now, or are they still expanding?
I don't know how many are in the country, but I do know it's the largest entrepreneurship program in North America.
Wow, that's awesome. And you're starting that up here in Merrimack.
Yes, I am.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I just want to say, Sarah, I think you did a phenomenal job, and I wish you great success at this.
Thank
You
you.
did a really good job.
Absolutely. Lauren?
Thank you for a very, very competent presentation. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate the fact that a person such as yourself and at your age understands already the importance of entrepreneurship. It's just wonderful hearing your presentation. I wish you all the success, and if I can help you out, please let me know.
Thank you.
Paul?
Do Paul first.
I thought you were pointing Paul out. You also-
Well, I was just gonna make a comment. Did you practice a lot for this presentation?
No, she's just good.
Wow. I think, well, it's even more impressive. You are very calm, but you obviously, when you present so clearly, it means you really know what you're talking about, okay? So it means to me that you're prepared, it's important to you, and you've really looked into this and you know exactly what you're doing.
Yes.
Because if you didn't know any of those things, you wouldn't be as comfortable as you are. So in the future, as you present, you'll be very successful if you believe in what you're doing. That just proves what you did tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Paul?
Sarah, once again, she blew me away. She came to my office, did this presentation. I was blown away then, I'm blown away now. What Sarah's looking for from the council was two things. One is the permission to have this Children's Entrepreneurship Fair at Watson Park on the 14th of August, and that we waive vendor permit requirements for this fair for the children, because it's unfair for them to have to pay $50 and they're selling bracelets and other things to get them involved. So the council would have to waive that and then actually approve permission to do it and then waive the vendor permit fee.
See, I personally think I have no problem waiving it because it's an educational program. It's not a for-profit, it's an educational program, so.
So the pleasure of the council?
So I move that we approve the Merrimack's Children Business Fair on August 14th at Watson Park from 9 to 12, and we waive all vendor fees applicable to this event.
Second?
Second.
Multiple seconds, but I'll grab Nancy, because, motion by Andy Hunter, second by Nancy Murphy. Is there any further discussion on your motion, Andy? Or anybody? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained, 7-0-0. And it's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to the 14th.
I know, I already have it on my calendar, by the way.
So thank you very much,
Paul,
Sarah.
can we put something on the town website as an event?
Yes,
Just to help?
We will position that, and we'll also put it out on our social media.
Perfect.
As
Okay.
a children's entrepreneurship
Whoa.
event at Watson.
With the website to go to.
With the website
Yeah.
to go to.
Yeah, since it's not a town thing, yeah.
You might get a lot more than you think.
It might. It's quick, it's
Might
only
be
a month
looking to
away.
overtake
And I
that
want to
1,500.
compliment your
Yes.
parents, too.
No, very, very good.
Very
Great
nice
job,
girl.
guys.
Nice job.
All righty. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank
If
you.
you
And
need
the two
anything-
brothers who are being nice and quiet here. too.
Yeah. If you do need anything, you can see Paul down at Town Hall or somebody there. They could help you with anything you need.
Thank you.
All right,
You're
thank you.
welcome.
Thank
Nice
you.
job, Sarah.
Bye.
And we won't make you, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. We would put your brothers to sleep. Although, mother might like that, too.
Yes. All righty. Now, next item under new business, item number 4, a withdrawal request from the Road Infrastructure Capital Reserve Funds for the needed improvements and drainage infrastructure on Gale Road. Council's to consider the withdrawal of up to $425,000 from the Road Infrastructure Capital Reserve Fund. And here this evening is Don Tuamala. Hi, Don.
Hi.
This project is long in the making. Dawn's been working hard to get this project out to bid and designed, and she's here to tell you all about Dawn's has been working on this project for a long time, I think 3 years, and she worked hard to get it out to design and out to bid, and she's here to tell you all about it.
Cool.
Thank you. That's a hard act to follow.
I-
don't know.
I'm feeling,
It's not.
I'm feeling sorry for you.
My word.
Touche.
So anyway, I'm here before you tonight to request the release of funds from the Infrastructure Capital Reserve Fund for the drainage and road improvements of Gale Road up to the amount of $425,000. The bids came in this afternoon, and we did have 3 bids come in. It's exciting. Just a real quick, brief overview. This is, Gale Road is off of Natticook, which is off of Continental. We are doing it in 2 sections, and the reason it took so long was because things kept happening out there and my project kept expanding. So anyway, hopefully we've got it down now. So that's a rough overview of where it is. So the Gale Street starts at Joey, is where we're gonna begin the work. We got 650 feet of road that we need to take out the existing drainage and put in new drainage, and then rebuild the road. The rest of the road up to Nora is in good condition. They had replaced the drainage a number of years ago. It is still in good condition. So we're just going to do a shim and an overlay for the pavement. That will bring us up to where we had stopped the pavement a number of years ago. So the whole of Gale Road will be done. That's phase 1, or part 1 of this project. The second part is the newer part. We've had an issue up at the other end of Gale Street, near J, where there's been a root ball. We have tried several times to get the root ball out, and it keeps coming back with a vengeance. So we need to remove the section of pipe and deal with that, the roots that are causing the problem. We also are having a water issue coming from the hill. Eric Street is uphill from here, and everything comes down. It's groundwater, so it's not on the surface. It comes down, and what's happening is that with that root ball, we're having a problem with water coming up in the road. So in order to address that, we're going to put in some under drains in the upper part around the corner of J and down the northern part of J in order to try to intercept that groundwater to get it away from the road. We're also going to put in a couple of catch basins in there. So that is the project in whole. We put it out to bid, and we did get 3 bids in today. I have not gone through them in great detail at this point because we got it in at 2:30. We had 3 bids, one for almost $99,000, another bid for $300,000, a third bid for $385,000. So what I would like to do is to ask your permission to allow us to do our usual evaluation of the numbers, and then make a recommendation to the town manager and allow the request up to the amount of $425,000 not to exceed. And then we would request the town council allow the town manager to be able to sign all the necessary documents for the project to proceed. And I do have this slated so that next Thursday was when I was going to announce who gets it and have the contract signed.
Does anybody have any questions? Tom?
Can you, the root ball question, I guess, is kind of curious.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you can explain a little bit more about what's going on there and how you're going to remedy that problem. What is a root ball for the public's assistance?
Trees create roots, and that's the way they get their nutrients and uptake of water and whatnot. Well, it's decided, one of the trees near there has decided to go into the pipe. I don't know if there's a problem with it. There's a separation between the lengths of pipe. We can't get through, so they've broken through a couple times, but it's hard, and I have not watched the video recently to see what's happening. But we're going to cut that area out, take out that pipe, because I'm assuming something has gone really wrong with it, and we'll probably cut the roots back to a certain point, probably to the right-of-way, and then move from there. I mean, it's a problem. We have a couple other places in town that have the same issue, that we're gonna be going through something very similar.
Is that gonna require removing the tree, or?
I don't believe so. I just think it's a bigger tree and the
I mean,
roots
it's
have come
far
out.
enough away from the easement that it'll still be stable, even though you take out the roots up to that
Right.
point or something?
Right.
But
We
this-
won't,
Basically, you're saying there's an intrusion of roots in there. You cut them out, or you've tried to cut them out or deal with them in the past, and they keep coming back.
yes. And every time they get worse.
I'm sure. But anyway, so the idea is to dig that whole area up and clear out as
Mhm.
much of the roots as you can get to.
Right.
And hopefully get a sealed pipe so they won't get in again.
Right, and we're gonna put a new catch basin in that structure in order, in that line, because this catch basins are far apart up there. So we're gonna put a new catch basin and we're gonna bring the under drains through to that catch basin and get them to go down.
Do you know what kind of pipe is in there?
Concrete?
Concrete, and that's what you're replacing?
Yes,
So they have joints every 12 feet or something, or
8.
8? Okay.
Depends on the size of the pipe.
Hmm?
Depends on the size of the pipe.
Yeah, right. Okay, and but that's typically where they would fail, right? The
Mhm.
roots would get in at the joints.
The joints, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Barbara?
So Don, if the tree has been persistent in sending its roots towards the pipe, what's going to stop it from doing that again in the future? Because you've said you've already cleaned them out several times. Now we're going to fix it, but the same tree. I don't like taking down trees, but on the other hand, this guy seems to be very persistent.
I don't know if it's one,
Okay.
and chances are it is on somebody's property,
Mhm.
and.
No, that ain't gonna
No,
work.
we're not gonna go there.
Yeah.
And you gotta remember the age of the subdivision, okay? The subdivision was done in the 70s, so this pipe has been in the ground for a long time.
I'm not in that line of work, but I'm imagining that there has to be a breach, whether the joints failed, separation or whatever, because if you have it sealed up, it's not,
Mhm.
it doesn't look for the joint, it's looking for moisture, and if there's a breach,
That's why
that's
it's
why it's
finding
doing
it.
it, yeah. That's my guess, anyhow.
And past efforts have only cut the roots back to the edge of the pipe, right?
Right.
This is
Right.
gonna take the roots out another 5 or 10 feet at least.
Right, we will go down inside the pipe. We cut on the inside.
Right.
So they still
So they're
are
still
right
there,
there.
they just come right back.
Exactly.
And this effort's gonna remove them from the pipe by, as far as you can reach through the easement or something like that.
Right.
And that should solve the problem for another 40, 50 years,
I hope so.
or something like that.
Don, I think you might have answered my question. The drains that you have to accommodate the extra groundwater coming down from Eric, those are going into those catch basins, new catch basins?
Correct.
Okay. 'Cause
And
I
that's
just-
the whole purpose for putting that within that line,
Yeah.
because otherwise I'd be going further down Gale with those under drains, and I don't need to.
Right.
So that way, we're intercepting where we need to, dropping the water, because unfortunately, the drain line's on the east side of the road. So it's on the opposite side of the
Yeah.
road of where we're having the problems.
Okay. Andy, and then I'll come back from the
So-
next question.
And I believe I know the answer to this, but I want to make sure that the public understands this well. So the request is for 425, but you had submitted that request prior to receiving these bids. So if we approve the request tonight for a not to exceed 425, you choose one of the bids, that's the amount you'll spend, not necessarily the 425.
That's
The
correct.
425 was just prior to you receiving the bids.
That's correct.
Yep, thank you.
I wanted to get on so that we could get this project moving
Mhm.
and get within the construction season of this year.
Yeah, I just wanted people to understand we're not approving extra money.
No.
We'll only spend whatever the project takes.
Nancy?
Yes, thank you. Actually,
Andy.
following up on Andy's point, since 2 of the bids are already under the 425, why would we not change the approval amount to the highest bid? Is there a rationale for that? And I mean, assuming that the scope of the work was presented to all 3 consultants,
Yes,
correct?
it was a whole bid package that went
Yeah.
out. They still run into things that we didn't know. So there would be some extras. What I try to always do is to do a give and take, so we might adjust one way or the other to try to keep it at that. But sometimes you don't have all of the situation. You know, we've done a lot of work and a lot of exploratory here, but if something unknown comes up, we want a little bit of a buffer to be able to answer that. And if we don't, I try to come in under the budgets, but
But that would put just about a 10% reserve on that middle bid.
and with costs today,
Yep,
it's,
Yeah.
good point.
Had we planned on 425 in the
Yeah,
capital
we
reserve
have,
fund?
it was probably a little bit lower, but we have enough money in that capital reserve fund because other projects have come in less than we've expected on some of the stuff, so we do have money made up. I do want to inform the council, I just got text by Nicholas. We're having an audio problem on the TV. However, streaming services are fine. They're notifying the public that there is an audio problem. Just Nicholas asked to make sure the mics are on and make sure you get in pretty close to the mic because there is an audio problem going on, so.
Okay. Who else? Lon?
Yeah, Dawn, would, other motions we've made when there might be a fluctuation in the final amount, would an up to the 425 be an appropriate motion?
yes, that's what I'm asking.
Thank you.
Part of the problem on the earlier portion, that we're addressing, there's that property that we had supposedly 30 or 40 years ago, not supposedly, we had some kind of agreement at a Board of Selectmen meeting, at 6 Joey, I believe it was.
It's on Gale.
Gail, I meant Gail, yes. Yeah, is that gonna be addressed in some fashion? Because I know there was difficulties with that because of the MS4 and all those things.
I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it on here. It's this house here.
Mhm.
There is a pipe that comes from the backyard, because all of these houses drain to their backyards, and then it comes all the way down the hill, and unfortunately, this house is at the bottom of the hill. So there was a pipe put in, I do not know by whom, and then it comes out, and it comes out into the street. We found, he actually had it cameraed, we have a location. So what I'm gonna do is put a catch basin right there for that to drain directly into. So we'll cut off some extra length, because before it was going all the way across the road. When they put the sewer in, I suspect something might have happened to it during that construction. It was years ago, but it's been there. So yes, I am. We're not doing anything or proposing anything with that pipe at this point, and we can certainly address that. Later will be outside of the road, and it's a private issue, and we'd have to come back.
But you're putting that.
But we're putting that to be able to address that situation, so
So the runoff will come down to that
it'll
grade?
come into that, yes.
Yep, okay, thank you. Does anybody have anything further? So what's the pleasure of the council?
Like to make a
Move.
motion?
Sure.
Yeah, move to release the funds in the road infrastructure capital reserve fund for drainage and road improvements on Gale Road up to the amount of $425,000 and allow the town manager to sign all appropriate forms and documents as needed.
Motion by Barbara, seconded by Tom Koenig. Any further discussion on your motion? Or from anybody? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 700. Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Gale Road, yes. So, all right, next item under new business, item number 5 is the council is to consider the request to release and undedicate two sections of road on Acre Lane and Clare Street and accept the proposed easements. And let's see, it was Paul
Dawn's
Chisholm.
gonna, I'm sorry, Dawn's gonna be talking about this as well.
Okay, so Paul Chisholm is here from Keach, maybe?
Paul is on vacation.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, so I don't know if Tony's to join you, or
Certainly.
if you'd like, sure.
Tony, could you please state your full name for the minute taker, please?
Tony Basso.
Turn that on.
My name's Tony Basso. I'm an engineer with Keach Nordstrom Associates.
Great, thank you, Tony. All right.
So, if you remember, I've been before you twice before for this subdivision. The subdivision was done in 1966 and then revised in 77, and it created a whole number of lots. And this is the GIS. I was before you 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, for Rita Street, this little piece of road over here. You undedicated that section. We put drainage in there. They're still working on the drainage. We haven't recorded that, but that's another story. But it's been signed. And then these lots, it split the road so that the lots have become a little bit larger, and they merged a couple of the lots together. Recently, last December, I came in and I gave you an easement plan because we had some wetlands. We had to take some easements and do some drainage and whatnot. So it was done in 2 steps. So I'm here before you tonight to do what's called level acres. We're doing phase 3. And that's the area over here in purple. So it's on the other side. It's off of Pearson Road. They had to go to the planning board for this one because they did some lot line adjustments between the lots. The road stayed the same, but the road width back then was only 40 feet. We require 50 feet today. So they had to do a 5-foot easement, or give us a 5-foot easement. Plus, they also, with our MS4, had to bring the drainage, anything they proposed, up to date. So we've been working with the engineer and the owners, and planning board has gone through and has done their approval for the lot line adjustments. One of the conditions was that sections of the old road had to be discontinued in order to be able to do this lot line adjustment and subdivision. Hence, we're coming before you tonight for 2 things: the undedication of 2 sections of road and your acceptance of the easements that we need to be able to have the roads and the drainage put in. So this is an overall, this is Pearson Road. This is what we call phase 3. What they have done is the first phase was over in Cathy. They have then extended the sewer line, is out, not quite in the swamp, but they had to go across the little brook here. This was phase 2. They came out, came out to Level Street, and then came down. So that's the way they've bringing the sewer into the subdivision, because these lots are so small that they need to have town sewer, otherwise they wouldn't meet the requirement for on-site septic. So, this is the first undedication of one of them. It's this little pink area here. And most of this area will then fall within a drainage easement. The second area is down here. And if you go back, the overall, you can see it's only a section. All these lots have not been built upon. There's a lot of wetlands out there. This is the phase that they're doing right now. What happens with the rest of it, I don't know at this point. But we've got other, this is what's before us. So I'm asking for the undedication. We've gone through these plans. I agree with the undedication. So you're the only body that can legally do that. It has gone through town council. He has reviewed all of the documents for the undedication. No, it went through the town attorney, sorry. It went through the town attorney. We went back and forth. So the legal language is all set and ready to be signed. We'd ask that you have the town manager actually sign the undedication, if you approve it. The second part of this is the acceptance of the easements, and this plan's a little bit easier to see because it's not blown up. The areas that are in green are the 5-foot wide additions to the road that we need for proper drainage and that type thing. The blue areas are areas where they're going to be putting in detention basins, swales, whatnot, to be able to treat to meet the MS4 and the state requirements today for the drainage. I have been through this plan. We've been through all the sewer. I'm happy with all of the plans. They've met all of our requirements. All of these easements have also been reviewed by the town attorney, and they are all set also. So we're here before you tonight for your acceptance and undedication of this section of road. We're trying to do it all at once instead of come back several times.
Yeah, just two things. First, if you could explain what undedicating means so that the folks at home will know what that means. And then my second question is, for where the easements are those inhabited? Are those already owned? Or have they not been developed and purchased yet?
So the developer, let me answer the last question first. When the original owner passed away several years ago, at one company purchased this whole thing. It's called Governor's Hill. He purchased all of the remaining lots. All of these lots are vacant.
Okay. I was just wondering if there were people who already had purchased the land who were going to be affected by the change in the easements.
No.
And if they were, and it was sold, had they agreed to them?
No, none of these have been sold.
Okay, thanks.
Abutting it had been sold, but not these here. So
Okay.
this was raw land, basically. Whereas Kathy Street, the road was sort of there. It was a little different situation. This is a very different situation than what you normally would go through because this plan was an approved plan, but it was so long ago. So they're bringing it up to today's standards, is what they've been doing. And what was your other question? I'm sorry.
About what undedication?
About
What- undedication.
undedicating.
So, right now, these are paper streets. So you have legal rights, and the public has legal rights. So in the undedication, this land goes back to, it would be either lots, but they're doing this with the lot line adjustment, so it's a little bit different. Usually it's 50%, it's half the road goes to one lot, half goes to the other road, like what happened on Rita. This is a little bit different because they're doing a lot line adjustment at the same time, so it's a little bit different. But it's still, the undedication would mean that it goes back to the owners and that we give up the public rights. The public would no longer have any rights, if they have any, to be able to walk within those areas.
Tom?
So, thank you. I wonder, has the fire department approved the turnarounds and things like that? These are sufficient for them to get in and out and do what they need? One of them is not even a full circle. It looks more like a P shape upside down. So has it been reviewed by,
I had sent the to fire. I told them to, this didn't go through its normal process, and a lot line adjustment, you know, it's a little bit different. I believe fire did review the the hydrants and whatnot. I did not specifically ask him the question about the cul-de-sacs, but I believe they had done.
You're with,
Allison.
Allison's with Keach.
Yes, I'm Allison Lewis with Keach Nordstrom. So the fire department did get all the plans. His only comment was hydrant locations, which we updated, and we haven't heard an answer yet with that, but that was his only comment with the plans.
okay. As far as undedicating the pieces, we're not really dealing with the roundabouts or the I mean, sorry, the circles at the end of the road.
Cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sacs.
Whatever you want to call it.
It's a
But we're undedicating. So the other section is not even a part of this question. You're cutting off the road.
Yeah, not really,
Right.
yeah, right.
Not doing anything with it at this
You're
point.
chopping off the piece, yeah.
Okay.
Because the lot
It's
line
a-
adjustment essentially put the other part back.
55 feet, so, yes. So instead of a full cul-de-sac coming and turning, this is, yes, it still goes around.
It's slightly different, so I don't know whether it's,
yeah.
it looks like it might be a little bigger, pushed out to one side, so it
Yeah.
should be
Yeah,
sufficient.
it is.
It
That's-
appears that the diameter from that straight line over to the other side would be similar to the other
It's
cul-de-sac.
110.
Just an offset one, it's the.
110, no, it would be 70, 80 feet. It's 80 feet, sorry.
And is the other one the same?
This one is 50, the other one's 100 foot.
Yeah, those are big.
And that's, it meets the requirements in the current subdivision regulations,
Okay.
Okay,
if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah,
Which
I
I don't,
think that
I don't
answers
review
Tom's
for that,
question.
so,
Yeah.
it's- yeah. I don't do a subdivision review.
Right, the planning board normally does that.
Yeah, yeah, they do it.
So by this being approved tonight, does that lock in those spaces, or if the planning board had some angst over anything during that process? the site plan
They've
review?
signed the plans.
The planning
Oh,
board
okay,
already
all
approved
right.
it.
Yeah.
No, then I'm all good.
Their last requirement was to come here and to get the undedication.
Very good. You did say that.
Yeah, and they didn't, the easements, they didn't.
Nobody had an issue. No, that's good.
No, that's
No.
why you need to approve them, is because they didn't.
Yeah. No,
They didn't
very
have
good.
to, yeah.
Nancy?
I just wanted to add an additional, and Don, you know, because I've been through this, so I understand it. Even the paper street's not necessarily clear to the public. A paper street is in the plans, it was originally supposed to be a street.
Mhm.
But for a lot of different circumstances, you don't need it anymore. So what you're doing is you're releasing that paper street or that, you're releasing that section, what used to be a paper street, and you're just dividing it between the two abutters.
Yeah, and you're releasing
Theoretically.
the rights, that's
The
most
rights.
important, the rights.
Right, because this one, because it's done differently, is not really dividing, it's being
Absorbed.
realigned
Right.
to fit
It-
properly,
it-
but we're
It's a
giving up.
whole different animal.
But a lot
It's-
of people don't know what a paper street is, so I
It's
just
true.
wanted to add additional comment, that's all.
All of those original, oops. Of course, I'm not gonna be able to do this. Go back to my GIS map.
Grab the bar outside.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't worry about it.
There we go.
There you go.
So yes, so all of these, in between here where all the wetlands is, these
Mhm.
are all paper streets still.
Right.
They were on the plan. What they used to do years ago is they'd make plans, they just draw
That's right.
nice little square lots, and there you go.
Yeah,
With
Irregardless
streets.
of, and we have the laws today because of things like this and what's happened
Right.
in the past.
yep, nope, absolutely. All right, does anybody have anything further of Don or Tony? So what's the pleasure of the council?
So make a motion, move to approve the request to release and undedicate two sections of road on Acre Lane and Clare Street and accept the proposed easement as presented tonight.
And signature? We have to give permission.
And approve the town manager to sign all necessary documents applicable.
Motion by Andy, seconded by?
second, you got it.
Seconded by Barbara. Any further comment on your motion, Andy? Or anybody?
No further comment.
No?
Yeah, just a question. Should the motion also include the conditions that are necessary with the undedication documents as well?
Yes, I was gonna mention that.
So that should be
Yes.
all stated in there as
You want
well.
to read those
Yes.
in?
Do you want me to
Or if
read
you have
those?
the sheet in front of you?
Want me to?
I'm not,
Yeah,
not 100%.
Barbara has it in front of her, she could,
Okay,
if
if
you would
you
like.
read them, I'll accept them.
Okay. Several conditions have been put within the undedication documents. One, the easement plan and deeds to be recorded in the HCRD, and there's an attachment for that. Number two, drainage infrastructure needs to be completed prior to any issuance of certificate of occupancy permits are given. Three, they meet all of the recommendations of the staff of the Town of Merrimack Community Development, the Public Works Department, and in conjunction with undedication by the town council.
I circled that because I wasn't sure.
I know, yeah.
That was,
Sorry.
and just for for the record, HCRD, Hillsborough County Register.
Registry of Deeds,
Yeah.
yep.
Andy, you go with
Motion
that?
so amended.
So, thank you, sir. And Barbara
Agreed.
seconded.
Nicely done.
All right, seeing no further discussion, if there's none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed or abstained? 700. Thanks, Don. Thank you,
Thank you.
John.
Thank you.
And thank you, Allison. All right. Next item, under new business. Council to consider the acceptance and expenditure of grant funds in the amount of up to $6,000 made available through the 2018 Homeland Security Grant Program for the purchase of EMS warm zone equipment needs for our first responders to active shooter events pursuant to RSA 31:95B and Charter Article 8, Section 15.
Show and tell.
Good evening, Chief.
So the chief is here, and soon-to-be Assistant Chief Newman will be presenting tonight the
Very good.
Warm Zone Grant, and they can take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you for having us this evening. So this grant that's in front of you, unfortunately, kind of got misplaced within our office, and as we're, trying to pick up on things, it came to our attention that we might be missing an opportunity to get grant dollars to help us with some of the supplies that our team needs, which again, I'm sure you've all seen in the news. These active shooter events are not going away. So we don't want to miss out on an opportunity. So Captain Newman currently is part of that team, and I thought it'd be appropriate for him to kind of give you a presentation quickly on what we're looking for, what this grant is, and then we brought some equipment for you to kind of see what the team has and what they can do for capability. So with that, I'll turn it over to Captain Newman.
Thanks, Chief. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dan Newman, and I'm currently the captain of A Shift out there. So here we go. We've been awarded the 2018, fiscal year 2018 Homeland Security Grant. The bottom line up front for you all comes from the Homeland Security Grant Program, Article 1, which states that this grant is for the purchase of items to protect state and local entities against threats of terrorism or catastrophic events out there. So for us, that's that active shooter, hostile event, mass casualty type things. This grant is total $6,000, and it is a repeat grant for our department or for the town of Merrimack. We received it first in fiscal year 2016, where we purchased our ballistic rescue task force backpacks that have level 3 bulletproof protection, both front and back, and has the MOLLE system and has the ability to carry the equipment we need for massive hemorrhaging, bleeding out, chest wounds, that type of thing. Our medical stuff that we carry on the back. And it also has an area in the back that we carry more supplies. The intention of this fiscal year 2018 grant is twofold. One is those durable supplies, like everything has a shelf life, and we want to restock those ones. And also stockpile a little bit more of that product, of those bandages and types of things that we need should an event arise. And it also is to help purchase the personal protective equipment for our special response medics. We train medics, paramedics on our department to assist with the police department should an event of active shooter take place. We have the ability to flex our medics forward and provide medical support for them as they go into the hot zone while we operate with our rescue task force guys in the warm zone. Again, like I said, everything was for $6,000. The approved equipment list comes from FEMA, and we've broken it down in those two sections, with the top of the equipment list being things for those specialized medics, as far as the MOLLE attachments, which is how we attach bags and things to our vest, is a MOLLE attachment. We're looking for some bags to go on our vests for those medics, as well as a bag to carry all that equipment in. And then the bottom part of that list is all those durable medical supplies that have that shelf life that we're looking to plus up and create more. As you can tell, we've put our vendors up there. We currently get all our medical supplies, or the majority of our medical supplies come from Boundary Medical, so we have a relationship with that organization. And then the only item that isn't covered there is the big duffel bag, we call it the SWAT bag, that we'll have to comes off the cheapest that we have is Amazon right now. Total right there is the $5,988, which hits us at that $6,000 mark. Again, we're looking for your approval to accept this grant and expend that $6,000. And I'll open the floor to any questions, should you guys have any.
I just want to, reading this email correspondence, the direction is that we need to have the request for reimbursement, equipment invoices, and a copy of the check. I get that part, but are we able to purchase this and get invoices in hand and have them submitted by the end of July, 2 weeks away?
Yes, because the vendor that you saw, Boundtree, we've already got approval through our finance department to use them as a vendor for supplies. We know they're pretty much next day.
Okay,
We're lucky with that supply chain, so
Yep.
we should be able to get all the needed supplies and have all the invoicing in and checks out within a week.
okay, thank
Once you guys approve the acceptance of the grant.
Yep.
Is anybody, Tom?
You pointed out that there's bulletproof sides on this backpack or something, is that right? Do you guys actually go into hot zones where you have to worry about being shot at, or?
So
are you-
the short answer is yes, but our firefighters who are on duty, should an event take place, they go into what we call the warm zone, which is the next zone back. So we're not with a team that's clearing through and taking the threat down. We're the next follow-on to stop the injuries, to stop the bleeding. But that has the potential to go from a warm zone to a hot zone rather quickly. So the on-duty crews wear ballistic vests front and back with the level 3 protection, which is a rating for what it can withstand as far as munitions out there. So our firefighters that are on duty will be in that warm zone, and we have specialized medics that will work with the police department and work in that in-between zones between the hot and the warm zone.
So you will have ballistic vests, or is it just the backpack that has the ballistic
We have
sides?
ballistic vests as well, so
Okay.
we run both.
And so is everybody equipped with that on the fire department, or is just a certain team?
Currently, right now, we have 8 sets of these backpacks that were bought on that fiscal year 2016. So we have the ability to put at least 3 rescue task force teams together to go in and do a casualty collection point or start treating the wounded. So not every firefighter has this, but it's on our first due pieces. So Engine 1, Engine 2, Ambulance 1, and Ambulance 3 all have 2 sets. So it allows us that ability to put teams of 2 together to go in there and support the law enforcement as they go and do their mission.
And of course, the picture you're showing shows helmets and things like that. Is that
That's
part of our
correct.
equipment
That
as
was-
well?
Correct. That was our initial purchase for helmets as well.
And on your list of items that you included, are these so specialized that they can't be recycled or used on a daily basis? They expire after 6 years or something like that?
So the decompression needles, should somebody have their lung collapse and we have to put a decompression needle in there, it expires due to the plastics in there. We have chest wound seals that are plastics, have adhesives in it, and over time, due to the FDA, they say things only last so long.
So the question is, do we use that equipment anytime other than something like an
That's
active
correct, we
shooter?
do.
So
These
so
can
is
be
it
used-
cycled around so that you shouldn't necessarily have stuff that expires after 6 years? Or do we have a stock that is beyond what's in these backpacks?
That's correct. And that's also what this grant is trying to do, is not only replenish things that have reached their end date, but also have a stockpile for that reason.
Okay. I guess I'm trying to get at, do you leave stuff in this backpack for 6 years and then recycle it out, or do you cycle it around
It-
on an annual
If
basis
if
or
it gets
something?
to its expiration date, it gets taken out of the process. There's nothing that gets put in this bag that gets put in something else, but our bag can be used for multiple instances. For example, a bus crash becomes a mass casualty incident. It doesn't matter about the ballistic in here, but all those bandages and those tourniquets can be used for the same injuries. So it's
If it can be
recycled in
used, it
that
will be
way.
used.
Correct. It has
So-
multi-use for us on the department.
But I think,
All right.
and maybe you answered it and I missed it, but I think what Tom was looking for, what I'm looking for, is rotating of stock, I guess. So if we've used equipment that's in these bags, if we used it here on the floor out of a regular bag, are we able to rotate that stock out so the newer, so it doesn't get stale after the
Yes.
Okay, so it's like rotating milk in your cooler.
But
Okay.
I'm imagining there's some things you're not going to use except.
Well, no,
Those
then
are-
that's
Correct.
different.
That's part of the question is,
Right.
are these things you're not going to use
There are
except in
some
an active
things
shooter
that
event?
would not
or-
be used except for.
In high trauma situation.
Right.
But,
Right.
but exactly, like you said, if there's a high trauma situation, you use the
Then-
equipment. You won't worry about whether or not it was
Right.
specified for a warm shooter zone or something
Right,
like that. I
right.
mean, Okay, great,
This
thanks.
guy needs to
Appreciate
have
it.
this
I
hand replaced.
had trouble getting my question across, but I
Yes,
think
he
we got
does.
it answered.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's getting, he's getting take care for a broken wrist.
We
Anyhow.
were just, I just made a wise guy comment about the guy needing a new hand.
Yeah,
Needed his hand fixed.
that's quite the trauma, it
No,
just
no
hand
blood
fell off.
though, so it's a clean. Maybe there's a tourniquet further up. No.
All right.
Don't get carried away.
Stop, Nancy.
All right, so is there, Nancy, thank you for bailing us out here.
Thank you. I just have a question in terms of suppliers. I see that Bound Tree Medical is somebody I guess you use. Do you have like a list of suppliers that you can determine the best rates for certain things? Or is it because we're sort of running out of time that's the choice with going
Paul?
with one particular provider over another?
We do a bid for our medical supplies, and Boundtree won the bid, so that's why we use them. We do go out for a bid, and Bowntree's been our supplier since they changed their names.
Right, that
so-
bid's due up within the next few months, so
Right.
we'll be going back out again for another bid process.
We do a bid to get, these are what we use, these are the Band-Aids and everything else. And we just don't do it for the fire department, we do it for Parks and Rec and other departments too. And we go out there and say, this is what we use, and they give us the price, and we've been selected as the winning bidder year after year for.
Great. Thank you.
Is there any further questions or thoughts? So none. Somebody like to make a motion?
I move that we accept if we accept the grant and expenditure of an amount up to $6,000 made available through the 2018 Homeland Security Grant Program for the purchase of EMS warm zone equipment needs for the first responders to active shooter events pursuant to RSA 31:95-B and Charter Article 8-15, and further that the town manager be authorized to sign any documents necessary.
Second.
Motion by Tom Koenig, second by Barbara. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 700. Congratulations and thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, we appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Item number 7 under new business, the council to consider a request to withdraw $38,718.25 from the Highway Capital Reserve Fund for the purchase of a 2022 Intimidator 12 XP Brush Bandit chipper for use at the Highway Division. And here this evening is Lori Barrett.
That's intimidating.
Hi, Lori.
Hi. No, I wanted to know what was going to be intimidating.
Yes, so I propose replacing the 2005 Morbark Blizzard chipper that we have. It's 17 years old. This is within our Highway Capital Reserve Plan, and we put it out for bid. We received 2 bids, one for a Morbark, the updated version of the Morbark chipper that we have. It's called an Eager Beaver 1415.
The Intimidator or the Eager Beaver?
We had to change.
But we're supposed to keep this serious, right?
Sorry. So that came in at $66,930. Both bidders had the trade-in value for our chipper at $12,000. And MB Tractor came in with the Intimidator 12 XP Brush Bandit, which does meet the spec at $50,718.25. So with the trade-in value of $12,000, they came in with a total bid of $38,718.25, which is $16,211 lower than the Morbark chipper. So I'm recommending we go with the MB Intimidator Brush Bandit.
Great. Anybody have any questions on this or comments? See none? It's a pleasure, Lon.
Yeah, it's not a question directly related to, but when I saw this, it just kind of caught my mind that we've been expending quite a bit out of the Highway Capital Reserve Fund. Are we in good shape with that?
I'll let my finance director answer that question.
Ooh, nicely done.
We are. We're on track with what's been planned for, so no concerns.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, we've tried to follow the CIP as close as possible.
Yeah.
It's, as everybody knows, it's been a little difficult with inflation and things of that sort, but we have always put in a little bit more money than we needed. Not a lot, but a little bit more because of anticipating in the following year purchases, and this has come in where we expected.
Yeah.
Less, it was,
Less.
we put aside 50,000.
50, so it's a little bit less than we expected and stuff like that, then we'll look at it, but yeah.
Great, all righty. What's the pleasure of the council?
Question?
Barbara?
Lori, what's the diameter that this chipper shredder will handle?
12-inch tree.
12 inch? That's a good size.
Can I borrow it?
You need it.
All righty. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Move to approve the request to withdraw $38,718.25 from the Highway Capital Reserve Fund for the purchase of a 2022 Intimidator 12 XP Brush Bandit chipper for the Highway Division.
Second.
Motion by Andy.
And
second-
approve the town manager to sign all pertinent documentation.
Second.
We got a second by Barbara, I believe. Motion by, motion by Andy Hunter, seconded by Barbara this time. Any further discussion on the motion?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 700. Thank you, Lori. Next item, number 8, under new business, withdrawal, council to consider a request to withdraw up to $31,800 from the Sewer Infrastructure Improvement Capital Reserve Fund for the replacement and purchase, I guess for the purchase and replacement of 15 aisle blowers for the compost facility. And Sarita's here to talk to us about that. Hi, Sarita, how are you?
Now, it does seem
So-
like Sarota's here.
Sarita's here an awful lot
Oh,
lately.
Sorota, yeah.
Sarita has a nice
Sorry about that.
presentation put together because I think she thought it was important, and I think it's important for the public to see
Mhm.
what these blowers look like and what these agitators, the next item, actually look like. So without a further ado.
So which one am I doing first, the blowers
The
or
blowers, yeah.
The blowers.
or the agita, the blowers?
Blowers first.
Oh, really?
Did you want the agitators first?
Could we do the agitators
Yeah,
first?
then let me, that would be item number 9 under new
Sorry
business.
about
Not a
that.
problem. Council's to consider a request to withdraw up to $143,000 from the Sewer Infrastructure Capital Reserve Fund to upgrade the compost agitators to wireless communication between the agitator and Dolly for the wastewater division.
And what I said before
Yeah.
pertains to this.
Yes, pertains to both. Thank you
Perfect.
very much for allowing me to speak this evening. So the reason why I wanted to talk about the agitators first is I talk about what composting is. And it's not the same composting that you do with your leaf and yard waste. It's just a little bit different. So I'd like to talk about the agitator, compost operations. This particular upgrade is a sole source bid by the equipment manufacturer. So what we're talking about is a Process Logic controller upgrade to 2 agitators that we have in the compost facility. Just to let you know, composting is regulated by EPA 40 CFR Part 503, and it's also regulated by New Hampshire DES ENVWQ 800. And so there are 2 types of compost that you can produce. It's a Class A and a Class B. And the Class A is the highest quality, and that's, of course, what we produce. And the key to that is there is a full destruction of pathogens to non-detectable levels in the wastewater solid. So that becomes really important with the Class A biosolid.
Just for pathogens or what?
they're the bugs, the nasty things that get you sick. So, yeah. It's the stuff in wastewater that we kill with chlorine bleach before we discharge to the river. It's that same stuff in the solids that we kill using heat in composting. So what I have here is I'm showing you on the lower right-hand side our compost facility. And what we have at the wastewater treatment plant is called an in-vessel composting process. So what that means is that we have an environment that we can control quite well. We measure temperature as we go through the composting process, and we also add controlled amounts of air to help with killing these pathogens. So I'm glad you've asked, how do we do that? Well, when you add air to all this dirt, what happens are the organics start to oxidize or burn. So like a fire, it produces heat. And what we want to do is we want to control that temperature so we don't actually have a fire in the building, but we need it to be high enough so we can kill these pathogens. So 55 degrees C for a minimum of 3 days, 45 degrees C on average for 14 days, and the total length of time that we actually run the compost mixture through this process is 18 days. Now, if you take a look over here on the left-hand side, you'll see that we have 15 bays, and the picture's not the greatest, but we have 15 bays. So we fill these 15 bays with a mixture of sawdust and equal parts of sludge. They mix them, and then they actually place the mixture at the head of each bay, and then with an agitator, it ends up being moved. So what's really important to remember with all of this is that two things are very important: air and mixing the compost. So you want to make sure that the air can contact everything to do a good job of degrading. And you also want to make sure that with the mixing you release any extra heat that you don't need in the process. So we're constantly controlling all of that. So this is how we do it. If you take a look here, you'll see this is actually a dolly with an agitator. The agitator is right over here. And it's actually a big, huge drum with tines on it. Now, the dolly stays out in this mixing area outside the bays, and the drum with the tines, the agitator, actually goes back on rails, and I have another picture to show you. It actually goes back on rails all the way to the back end, and then it works its way forward as we're feeding air, and it mixes everything, and it pulls or it moves the compost material so that it goes through the bays towards the end. So a couple of things to note here. It's not going backwards. So a couple of things to note here. This is a really corrosive environment. It's a tough environment. One of the main chemicals of concern that we deal with is ammonia. And we have ammonia at levels that are above the occupational exposure limit. So what you want to understand is we've got heat, we've got slip and trip hazards here, we've got toxic chemicals. And I want you to look on this picture up on the left-hand side. That is the controls for the agitator. Down here are the controls for the dolly and the power to the piece of equipment. So when these guys want to turn on the equipment, they use this. But if anything happens while the agitator is inside this bay, the guys will actually have to take a ladder, climb over the compost, set up the ladder, and actually operate the controls that are sitting on the side of it to try and deal with issues. And that happens quite a bit. Just to let you know, that does happen quite often. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to change the two controls to one single PLC, so they'll be able to operate everything outside of the bays themselves. And the number one reason for the PLC upgrade for me is safety. It's a pretty tough environment. And to think about it also is not only are the people exposed when they go down through these bays, but also the equipment itself, those controls. I mean, that is a very corrosive environment to be in order to have a long life in terms of use. Another one is to reduce time for operational activities. So the PLCs will be on the side of the dolly. Here is a control panel over here. And if you look back, whoops, went the wrong way. Sorry. So if you look back at this picture, it'll be like on one of these areas over here. So it's outside in a much better environment. We think that we will get some very valuable process information from this, and the thing that I'm really looking for is some cost savings from on the electrical side. So no secret, the electrical costs are going to start going up. So for us to optimize the agitator run times becomes really important. To optimize the amount of time that we have those blowers on, feeding air becomes really important. And so with this type of setup here, we're going to get some, information that we don't have right now, which could possibly help us, reduce our costs from, or our electrical uses from the standpoint. So I am respectfully requesting to complete upgrades, replace the controls for 2 of these agitators. We only have 2 agitators. To PLCs. The cost is $71,750 each. The total cost is $143,000. In the CIP from last year, we estimated $140,000, so we are $4,000 over, but based on evaluation of the sewer infrastructure improvement CRF balance, we do believe that we have sufficient money to withstand that extra $3,000.
Great. If you've never been to the compost facility, it's pretty impressive how it operates.
It really is.
Yeah.
A lot of people have trouble with the smell. I don't have too much trouble with it.
When I went to the compost facility, it has been a number of years ago, like 20 years, and I went with a delegation of people with the town manager from Ukraine, and we had gone to Fidelity. They showed us their operations. It was pretty impressive. Then we went to Anheuser-Busch for lunch, and we left there. That was pretty impressive. And we leave there and we go to the compost facility, which we're very proud of. And there, we walk in and they're going, okay, we can go now. But it was, it's a pretty cool operation. But so, does anybody have any questions of Sarita or?
So you have how many bays and 2 agitators?
So we have 15 bays and 2 agitators, and they are constantly going up and down the bays. So at any given point in time, we have at least 5 or 10 bays filled with material. Most of the time, it's all 15.
So those agitators go down a single bay? Or
Yes.
And you can move them side to side to get them in different bays, or?
Yeah, so how you do that, do you see that there's a little bit of a, yeah, right there, so.
Rails down there.
Yeah, the rail's down there. So this control panel moves the agitator, the dolly side to side. And then this one pushes the agitator physically into the bay.
And then when it rotates through, how far does it move the pile each day or each time? How, it's not important.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But over the course of the 18 days,
So
it
over
moves
18
that
days, it
pile
gets out the end.
down the whole bay to the other end,
Yeah.
so it's.
Sorry, I
whatever.
will find out.
No, it's not that
No,
important, no, it really
You can
isn't.
email
It's
him.
1/18 of the way, right, so.
All right.
So I can tell you this, the bays, this bay, it's 6 by 6 by 220. So why don't we do the math and we can tell you.
18 times
Yeah,
220.
18 divided by 220, so I'll tell you.
It's over 10 feet there.
Yes.
That's the math guy there. But it's all good. Sarita. I appreciate it.
12.22 feet.
Huh?
12.22 feet each day. I don't think it's exactly that. I'm sorry.
As long as, right, as long as
Plus
no
or minus
pathogens.
0.22 feet,
The
I'm
chair
sure.
does like details.
Anyhow, I thought she would know. It's just, she knows everything, so this is a
Thank you.
first for me tonight, but what's, no, Sarita's always very impressive.
Always knows everything.
What is the pleasure of the council then?
On number 9,
On number 9, yes.
I move to approve the withdrawal of $143,000 from the sewer infrastructure capital reserve, improvement capital reserve fund to upgrade the compost agitators and to authorize the town manager to sign any documents necessary.
Second.
Motion by Tom Koenig, second by Nancy Murphy. Any further discussion on the motion?
I'll just say I'm always impressed with your presentation.
Oh, yeah.
The
Oh, thank
pictures, and it really puts it in perspective.
It does.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 700.
And
Sarita
Sarita,
spoils us.
and Sarita has given you guys all an invitation to come on down and see him at work.
No,
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you
I
like.
recommend it. It's, because it is,
I would like, I'm just not sure when, but.
We are there 365 days a
Oh,
year.
Except on weekends, when you only have people on call, right? So-
No, we operate on the weekends, and
Well, I
if you
know.
would like to come on a weekend, I will make sure that we're there to give you a tour.
Maybe the fall or winter would be better.
Yeah, that's
Just thinking.
Oh, my gosh.
Cooler temperatures.
All right.
February-ish.
We're gonna.
Excuse me, I can't resist. It only takes one visit to understand Sarita's politeness with explaining the type of environment within which this machinery works and within which our operators have to enter.
Yeah.
Only takes once.
Yeah.
Any time of year.
I appreciate it already.
All righty. We're going to go back to item number 8 under new business. The council to consider a request to withdraw up to $31,800 from the sewer infrastructure improvement capital reserve fund for the replacement and for the purchase and replacement of 15 compost aisle blowers for the compost facility.
So thank you very much. And Councilor Woods, you're absolutely right. I am so very lucky because we have a remarkable team at the wastewater treatment plant. And the two gentlemen who primarily work in compost, they're unbelievable. They just do a phenomenal job, and we're just very lucky. The maintenance crew that we have and the operations crew we have, it's pretty incredible. So I count my lucky stars every day. So the reason I wanted this to go second, because it was important to present a little bit of the information from the first presentation, which talked about what's important when it comes to making compost. So we have the agitators which do the mixing. Well, now we need the air and the oxygen, and that oxygen is vitally important. If you don't have oxygen, now you're not making the compost that you want. You're not breaking down those pathogens. You're making some of these toxic gases that you really don't like hydrogen sulfide gas, like methane, like more ammonia. So this is all very, very important when it comes to it. Now, if you take a look at that same picture and you look at those 15 aisles, you'll see the 15 bays are right here. And outside the bays, you have 6 aisles. So this is one aisle, 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 and this is one aisle. In those aisles, we house these tiny little blowers that are about this big. And what we have is attached to the blowers, we have PVC attached to the end, and you kind of can see it over there, and it goes into each of those bays. So what we do is we turn on the blower for a set period of time, then we turn it on, and then the agitator is mixing at the same time. So there are 75 of these blowers in the compost facility. And these blowers were all installed in 1994. That would make them 28 years old. And they're in rough condition. You see 2 blowers here. The maintenance department does a phenomenal job of keeping them working, because if these don't work, we don't have compost. So what we're proposing here is to change out 15 blowers a year over the next 5 years to this style over here. So this blower, the maintenance manager, the previous maintenance manager about 10 years ago contacted Bernardi Engineering, and what he did is he worked with them to design a blower that had a stainless steel shaft. This is an aluminum housing. This is a motor that's steel, but it's a coated steel. And what he did is he tried out one of the motors in compost itself, and it turns out they work pretty well. And they seem to stand up to the environment a lot better than what we placed in there in 1994. This is the aisles that you can see the blowers in them, and you can kind of see where they're going over there. So they're 28 years old. They're corroded again because of the corrosive environment. Some of the blowers, maintenance will go in and they'll rebuild them. We've actually replaced 2 of them with the stainless steel shaft and the hardware and the coated steel and aluminum housing. The blowers are going to be supplied by Howden, which is the manufacturer of this. And again, this is a specialty item because we asked for the design. We had it designed, and we're specifically having it built. The cost is $2,124 for each blower. We're asking for 15 of them. It's a total of $31,860. The delivery of the blowers would be about 6 months after receipt of a purchase order. And in the CIP last year, I estimated 27,000. So we're about $4,860 over that. But again, the fund does have the ability to withstand the extra $5,000 withdrawal. So I'm respectfully requesting permission to withdraw $31,860 from the Sewer Infrastructure Improvement CRF, or the CIP.
Thank you, Sarita. Is our plan each year for the next 5 years?
Yeah, this is the plan,
To
yes.
do that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Anybody have any questions? Yes, sorry, Barbara?
So right now you have blowers that are working, they're just old and corroded, but they're still functional. So would you be switching out those blowers when the new one comes in, or are you switching out the blowers when they die?
So we have blowers that are really hanging on by a thread right now. So we're going to switch out the ones that are about ready to die now, so that we can continue to meet the requirements of composting. One of the things that happens as time goes on is you'll see that it's a little harder and you're using a lot more energy to push that air through. And we've seen our electrical costs go up. And it's not the cost, it's the electrical usage that's going up. And there's a number of reasons why. One is because of the moisture, because we have I hope everything's okay. It's moisture because we're storing sawdust outside, so as part of this, you have to drive off moisture. And then the other thing is they're not as efficient. So I think with the new blowers coming online, we'll have, they'll be efficient, so I'm hoping we'll see some cost savings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope. That was loud.
That was close by. Are there any further questions? No? And what's the pleasure of the council? Hi, Nancy.
Just want to make a motion.
Oh, please. Yeah.
Sure. The town council to approve a request to withdraw up to $31,860 from the Sewer Infrastructure Improvement Capital Reserve Fund for the replacement and purchase of 15 compost aisle blowers for the compost facility.
Motion by Nancy Murphy,
Huh?
seconded by Barbara
And-
Hilly.
oh.
And
And for our town manager to be authorized to sign any documents.
very good, thank you, Nancy. And Barbara seconded that motion. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 700. Thank you, Sarita.
Thank you.
Thank you. That ends our presentation portion of this evening.
All righty. Then, so I suppose you're going to be presenting these next ones?
Yeah,
Yep, they are. So item number 10 under new business, council to consider the acceptance and expenditure of a donation in the amount of $4,000 from the Merrimack Friends and Families to the Parks and Recreation Department to be used towards the Camp Scholarship Fund pursuant to RSA 31:95B and Charter Article 8, Section 15.
It's pretty
It's
self-explanatory.
self-explanatory, yeah, but it's, Merrimack Friends and Families come through again.
Oh, again.
They're amazing. Yeah, it's, yep, and so it's gonna be a lot of camp for some people.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So the pleasure of the council on
I
this?
move acceptance of the $4,000 from the Merrimack Family, Friends and Families Group for the Parks and Rec, or the Welfare Department for
Oh.
camp scholarship funds.
Second.
And
Was it the-
authorize the town manager to approve any documents. And send our thanks to the Merrimack Friends and Families Group for their generous contribution.
Okay, so that was a motion. Who seconded it? Barbara seconded it. Did you want to speak also?
Just a question, because earlier you had said that. Earlier you had said that the camp was fully booked as far as campers. So what happens to the donations that come in after the camp is fully booked?
If we have kids on scholarship, these will go towards them. If we don't have kids on scholarship, what will happen is the money will be rolled over for the next camp season, so next year.
Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, this stays in the camp's budget for scholarship fund for kids to actually have it. And these are only Merrimack residents that are entitled to these
Mhm.
scholarships. So if there's an out-of-towner, it goes to Merrimack residents.
think, Tom, you had said to the welfare department, is that what we would do?
it said something in here about the welfare department.
Welfare
Work in
reviews all
collaboration with the
applications.
welfare
So
department.
the motion was fine, though,
Yes.
in that regard, okay. No, excellent, thank
They
you.
help to determine who.
Right, no, absolutely, I understand that, so that's very good. So, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, call the question, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed or abstained, 700. Thanks to Merrimack Friends and Family. Council, item number 11, under new business, council to consider the acceptance and expenditure of a donation in the amount of $500 from the Merrimack Lions Club to the Parks and Rec Department to be used towards the Camp Scholarship Fund pursuant to RSA 31:95B and Charter Article 8, Section 15. And I guess that would be the same thing to the Welfare Department. So, is there any discussion? I'll accept the motion then.
Can make the same motion except for $500 from the Lions
Yeah,
Club
yeah.
to Parks and Rec and the Welfare Department to deal with scholarships for summer camp. And to authorize the town manager to sign any documents
Second.
necessary.
And the same thank you to the Lions Club. Yep. All right, and who was the second? I'm sorry, Nancy Murphy. Motion by Tom Koenig, seconded by Nancy Murphy. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed or abstained? 700.
With thanks to the Lions Club as well.
Absolutely. Item number 12 under new business. Council will consider the option of participating in the Primex Contribution Assurance Program, CAP, on both property liability and workers' comp insurance for a 3-year period from fiscal year 2024 to fiscal year 2026. And is Tom or?
Tom will be speaking. I just want to give a brief little thing. This CAP program is nothing new.
Right.
It's something that's been around for a while, but Tom can explain it, because I know we do have some new counselors and it's new to them, but we've been dealing with the CAP program since 2007,
13?
I think.
Oh.
It was before, it was
I
way
thought it said
back when.
13 here, but it might have been
13, but we've also, prior to that, we had it with, in 7.
Yep. Very good. Good evening, Tom.
Good evening. So Primex, which is the company that, through which we get our workers' compensation insurance and our property and liability insurance, has made available this CAP program, which stands for Contribution Assurance Program. Basically, what it does is it provides us with a maximum percentage increase over the 3-year period for both the workers' compensation and property and liability insurance programs. As Paul said, we've done these in the past. It's very helpful in terms of allowing us to budget with more confidence, knowing that our rates are limited in terms of how much they can increase. And the increases in this case that they're proposing seem pretty reasonable in light of everything that's going on in the world and in the state of insurance. I don't believe they've offered the programs for the last couple of years. I think probably COVID related. But as Paul said, we have done them in the past. Although the last time we did it, we were able to lock in a rate on property and liability, but they didn't offer us a cap on workers' comp because we had some high incidences of claims on workers' comp, and they weren't willing to cap it. But now things have stabilized as far as that goes the last couple of years, and they are offering us a cap rate of no greater than 8% for workers' compensation insurance, and a cap of no greater than 5% increase per year over this 3-year period for property and liability insurance. Looking at historical increases, looking at last year, in which we are not under a cap agreement, our workers' compensation insurance increased by 10%, and our property and liability insurance went up by 14%. So.
For the 1 year?
For the 1 year. Looking at over the last 6 years, part of the time we were under cap agreements for property and liability, and probably maybe in those early years for workers' comp too, but over the last 6 years, we've averaged 12% increase in workers' compensation insurance rates per year and 5% increase in property and liability rates per year. So these cap rates that they're proposing do seem favorable, and I would recommend that we execute those agreements and lock in those maximum rates. That is a maximum. It's possible that the increases will be less depending on their experience and our rate of claims over the period, and as well as the rate of claims of, this is a pool which most of the communities in New Hampshire participate in, so the experience is really pool-wide, which influences the rates.
Oh, excellent. Does anybody have any questions for Tom? Tom?
So I think you might have answered this in your discussion, but in our past history, has the number been coming in at the maximum when we've been in this program, or does it tend to fall, or has it fallen below the maximum at any point?
It actually has been a little below the maximum rate historically, in terms of what they proposed, and then in addition to that, we've gotten premium rebates for the last, well, quite a few years, which I didn't even factor into the calculations, but based on the pool-wide experience, they have been coming back year after year and giving us insurance rebates, which reduce our overall costs. So that was probably more information than you asked for, but the short answer to your question is that they've come in less than their maximum rate.
So, but the maximum is still a good number to have as a
budget
comfort
tool.
zone, if you will, budget
Right.
tool. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Good. It's the pleasure of the council. Lon?
Yeah, in the event that all of a sudden Primex isn't a good deal, does entering into this obligate us for 3 years to stay with them?
It actually does obligate
Thank
us
you.
to stay with them for 3 years.
But then again, Primex is the only one that gives us our assurances, and if we go with individual insurance company for property and liability, we lose our limitations. For instance, if the town gets sued, there's a cap for punitive damages that IRSA allows. That's the most that somebody can get. Whereas if we're with a private insurance company, it could be millions of dollars that we would have. And workers' comp is one of those deals where we could have a very good year, or we could have a very bad year. Somebody hurts a back, or somebody, breaks an arm or a leg on the job. It could be very costly to the town of Merrimack. We've had some claims, as you know, with the fire department, with backs and things of that sort, and we tried to get by the equipment so that they don't have those anymore, which has helped a lot. But it could get very costly if somebody hurts a back with increases and things of that sort.
No, definitely. All righty. Andy?
So I make a motion to approve participating in the Primex Contribution Assurance Program on both property liability and workers' comp insurance for a 3-year period, FY '24 through FY '26, and authorize the town manager to sign any and all pertinent documentation.
Motion by Andy Hunter, seconded by Barbara. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 700. Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Paul, do you miss hearing that or proxy?
And/or.
And/or proxy?
We just need the recording to Bill Boyd, so we hit the buttons at the end of the motion, so it's covered. So finally, next on the agenda is minutes for June 23rd. Does anybody have a motion to make, or
Move approval of the minutes for June 23rd.
motion by Tom Koenig? Second by Barbara. Everything look good?
I only had one thing that I was questioning. It was on the last page 8 of 8 on line 9, where it talks about changes to the minutes from previous time. And it says Martell Canteen, should be, say, Martine Field Canteen. I thought it was Martell, but.
It is Martell.
So if we could change that into an L in Martine, that would be awesome. Thanks.
It's still confusing.
There you go. All right. If there's no further adjustments to the minutes, call the question on the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. 700. Comments from the press? Comments from the public? If you'd like to address the council, you can feel free to step up to the mic here or here. Good evening, John.
Good evening. I don't think I need this mic. I didn't realize.
Actually, that's so everybody at home can hear you. So is the green light on, John, in front of you?
Just press the button.
There you go.
Thank you. My name's John DeBellis. I'm a resident at Meeting House Road. Been here all my life. I'm here representing not a group, but the residents of Merrimack who utilize the facilities within the town. One of these facilities that I'm bringing up to your attention would be Watson Park, excuse me. Because of extreme things that happened during the pandemic, a lot of places were closed. Wildcat Falls, Courier Road, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know where they were. I'm not going to bore you. This was closed. Now, all the other places were open, back to their full use, the boat ramps, this and that, and this and that, with the exception of this place right here. There's a fence and a gate blocking the way to the waterways. Back in '84, President Reagan told Gorbachev, tear down that wall in Berlin. Well, I'm here trying to represent the people of Merrimack. Please consider opening that gate so the people of Merrimack, the residents that use that facility, can have the full use that's available there. I don't want to get into that fence being barbaric. I think there's quite a few of you that would agree with me that it was at $26,000. Anyways, that's what I brought to your attention. I've talked to quite a few people. I'm not putting names, but I'm talking about the DPW, other town officials. And my only regret is I didn't start this back, but who am I? I'm just a resident. And I am representing quite a large group of residents, believe it or not. As far as a figure, to give you one at the moment be fictitious. But I will get it. I'm going to do my homework. And I will cross my T's and dot my I's. And believe me, I'm not going to stop until that is open. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, John. Any?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why is it closed? To be honest with you, and I'm with Brian, my understanding was that gate was closed if we needed it closed, but otherwise it would be open. That's why we have a gate. He has to answer.
It is closed due to recommendations by the police department in conjunction with the Parks and Rec Department and DPW. They're the ones who can open up that gate based on the rules and regulations of the park. I will be talking to them.
I mean, if there is concern,
Right,
I mean,
I'll be talking to them when I get back from vacation. It's on my list of things to do when I get back from vacation.
I'm not
to,
sure if anyone else feels that way, but that's why we had the gate.
Right.
Otherwise, we just would have put the fence up.
Right.
My understanding was, if the need arises, of course you can close it.
Right.
But it shouldn't be closed all the time.
And I will get an answer for the council.
Thank you.
Talk to the departments, get an answer for the council, one way or the other, why it's open, why we're not opening it, or why, if it's going to be
Yeah,
open.
it should be open unless you need to close it. My opinion.
If you want to further speak, John, you have to come back up here.
I don't want to be out of line, but I want to thank this young lady very much, because.
Thank you for calling me young.
That's what I wanted to say, but I didn't have enough time to really prepare, and I'm a little embarrassed, because usually I'm a little sharper than that.
John,
But-
Can you turn your mic back
it
on?
might be off, yep.
I'm sorry.
You could repeat the young lady's part.
This delightful young lady over here. And I didn't miss the other two over here. Thank you. I was under the impression, and that's one of the reasons why I did not attack this problem back in May or April, prior to the summer or spring season.
Yeah.
I fished that river as a boy, swam in it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Such as going to Lions Club dances up here and so forth, so. Closed my eyes and it was just yesterday.
Yes, it was. Barbara?
Yeah, I actually thought it was open as well because there was that question over Memorial Day weekend on whether we needed to close it or not. So I thought it was open. So I would say when you're having that conversation, Paul, if in fact, they say, oh yeah, we can open it, just open it. Don't bring it back to the council to make a decision.
Right.
Actually, I don't even have authority to open it. It's DPW and Parks and Rec Director are the way it's written, are the only two that can open that gate.
Okay, let me ask an additional
That can be
question.
changed easily.
That can be
How-
changed.
Vote of 4 people, but I get the point.
Is that a procedure or a policy that was established?
Believe so.
I think we
Yes.
voted on that.
Yes. I will,
Okay,
I'll
we'll
look
talk
at
about
it.
it.
I'll
Okay.
look
Yeah,
at
you-
everything, just.
If you could dig
give
in.
me-
when
Let
you
me
get
dig
back.
into it. Give me 10 days,
Yep,
and I'll dig into it.
thanks, Paul.
But open it in the meantime.
Any,
If you can.
yeah, any further questions from the public? Any comments from the council? Oh, Tom. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to quickly say how much I enjoyed the 4th of July parade and fireworks. I think it was a lot of fun seeing so many people come out and enjoy that. I had a lot of fun at the pancake breakfast as well, so it was good to see those activities back going on in town. And it was good to see all of Merrimack participating as well. Even the traffic trying to get out of the fireworks went relatively smooth.
Yeah, no, definitely, it was a good day. The what was?
The parade route was packed.
Oh, yes.
It was all the way down past, there was people even sitting at the high school.
That's because you were in it.
Must be.
That's
Must be, but I mean, it was larger than what I've seen. It reminds me of when I was a young boy, I should say, when people used to line up going down, all the way down past the school to the high school, and the Midway used to be at the high school. It was packed from the start all the way to the high school. It was great to see everybody out.
There were a lot of people on the route. Any further comments from the council?
Lon?
Dr. Woods?
Seeing no other comments, hearing no other comments, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion by Council Woods, seconded by Barbara. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 700. Thank you, everybody.